Welcome to the United Stand. Who'd thought we'd be early this morning on Thursday talking about Manchester United letting Chris Smalling go? But we are. We're talking about Chris Smalling leaving Manchester United to go to Roma. Another Serie A move. Another surprising... Well, to be honest, I'm surprised about this one. So Fabrizio Romano and Di Marzio basically saying that Manchester United are finalising the move of Chris Smalling to Roma in a $3 million loan move for a year that Chris Smalling wants to do, United want to do, and it's going to be finalised. He's in Carrington at the moment, and then he'll fly to Italy to complete the move. And it's just massively surprising. And look, I tell you what, I've said this before, you cannot say that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is not clearing the deadwood. Whether it's the right deadwood, I still think it is the deadwood. Fellaini, Lukaku, Sanchez, Smalling, they would be in everybody's top 10 deadwood players that we need to go. And we know we need to get rid of 10. So on that side, look, everyone who says Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's a puppet, maybe we would like to have had this excitement in the transfer window. But you know what? It's still clearance of the deadwood. And to me, I got to be honest about Chris Smalling, because if I start going, yay, we got rid of Smalling, I've always wanted to get rid of that mug, he's rubbish. You just go back through old videos and you'll find videos where I went, I actually like Smalling. And I've said this numerous times, I think Chris Smalling is the best backup centre-back in the league. You don't pick him. I don't think any top six side starts him. But if you get an injury to one of your centre-backs, Chris Smalling, as a third choice centre-back, has always come in and be very consistent for United. I've never said he's a starter, but he's good in the air, he's quick, and he's come in over the last 3 or 4 years, and I remember him doing it around December and November, I think it was last year or the year before. He's come in numerous times for us and done a decent job for us as a backup. And I would get rid of Phil Jones over him every day of the week, and a lot of people in the live comments are saying that. So I must admit, Smalling isn't the one I would have moved out. But then again, Smalling, for the reasons I've just said, maybe Roma are looking at Smalling and going, you know what, he's decent, we'd like him. Maybe we're there with Phil Jones, like, when you're at a car boot sale and you're trying to sell your crap edition of your Sega Master System that only works for 10 minutes, but then you've got your Super Nintendo with Street Fighter Classic. Everyone's going to go for the Street Fighter Classic, aren't they? Everyone's going to go for the Super Nintendo. The Master System, everyone's just going to sort of sympathetically look at it. And I think Phil Jones is that Sega Master System that nobody wants. And Chris Smalling is probably the sort of retro Super Nintendo, There's better machines now. We've got a PS4, which is Harry Maguire. We've got an Xbox, which is Lindelof. But the Super Nintendo, every now and again, can come in and be reliable and keep everyone entertained. And I think that Chris Smalling, for me, did do that. So I am not as happy about this deal as I was Sanchez, Lukaku, Fellaini. I'm not as happy about this one because I like Smalling as a backup, I've got to be honest. Having said that, I think where this deal happened was when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer decided to keep Twansebi, and clearly Twansebi is the third choice centre-back. Which, to be honest with you, if you're offering me that situation and you're saying, look, would you rather Twansebi was our third choice centre-back and we move Chris Smalling out, or would you rather keep Chris Smalling and Twansebi drops down the thing? So look, from that perspective, yes, I totally am on board with it. I've got to say, look, smash a like on the video if you're happy that Smalling's going. For me, yes, because Twansebi's third choice, but I also agree with everybody saying that Phil Jones should be the player that goes. I think Smalling's far more reliable than Phil Jones and Rojo. I think he's got a better injury record, and I think he's a better centre-back than those two players. But there is an encouraging thing from this as well, and that is, Mark, we could swap Mustafa plus 10 million for Smalling, says Zayn Miasi. We don't want Mustafi. Mason says it's a loan and Smalling's a good backup. Welcome to Christoph Jakob, the latest member of the United Stand Members Club. These loans return in July, back to square one, says Paul Robinson. I want to talk about that in a moment. So Chris Smalling to Roma this morning is the big news. Fabrizio Romano, Di Marzio, very accurate about Italian news. This will happen now. It's a surprise. And as I said, the positive for me, Twansebi is now the backup, and we know that. The positive for me, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, ruthless. We have been talking about Deadwood being kicked out of this club for 6 years, and he swore there. So to remove the Deadwood out we can't moan about it. If it's not the right piece of deadwood, well, tough shit, really, because we're moving it out. And look, there's still more deadwood that needs to go. I think Mata should have gone in the summer. I think Phil Jones and Rojo and Darmian have to go. But the encouraging thing here, Chris Smalling signed a new contract at Manchester United back in February. And yet we've still loaned him out. So it shows that I've never been a firm believer in that. When Phil Jones got a 5-year contract and people said, oh, we've given him that to keep his value when we sell him, I never agreed with that. I think, we're going to keep him for 5 years. But in this case, I've got to say, Smalling, we did give him a new contract, and yet a few months later, that same manager who authorised that contract is loaning him out to Roma. And you've got to look at it from Chris Smalling's point of view. I don't know the situation at Roma. They have lost Manolas. I don't know whether Smalling goes straight into that team. But what an interesting move for Smalling as well. If you'd have said to me, what English centre-back do you think is going to go and play in Serie A for a top 6 club? You would never say Chris Smalling. This is the player that Gareth Southgate won't pick for England because he can't bring the ball out from the back. So going to play in Italy, fair play to him. And a lot of it is probably to do with wanting first-team football. And he's miles away. He's absolutely miles away. So, and I think Rojo's miles away, and hopefully Phil Jones is as well. Has there been any update on Shaw and Martial, says James Murphy? Well, Shaw's out for a month. Martial, we don't know, so maybe we'll know on his press conference tomorrow. It was Phil Jones. If it was Phil Jones, I'd have a celebration party, says Kamal. Yeah, I think with Chris Smalling, it's like, yay! And if it was Phil Jones going, it'd be yes, come on. But look, Phil Jones is obviously going to be the backup of the backup. Mark, Arsenal and United should have gone for Cahill, says Zayn Miassi. I don't know what you're on today, Zayn. You're bordering on not having your comments read out again. And Brandon Williams must get a chance, says Brandon Wiley. And Man United are so thin now, says JR6. I mean, that's a good point. There's two things I want to say here. So Chris Smalling to Roma on loan for a year. 3 million loan. As Paul Robinson said, I want to talk about the thinness and I want to talk about what Paul Robinson said. The reality is Chris Smalling is back in a year. The reality is Alexis Sanchez is back in a year because there's no obligation to buy on Roma or Inter. So those players are back in a year or they're back in the market in a year. Now, United have clearly only been able to negotiate those terms or they don't want there to be an obligation to buy. Either way, those problems could be back at Manchester United next season. Having said that, is Chris Smalling going to have a great season at Roma and then suddenly get his place back at United? This is the beginning of the end for Smalling. It is. Like, whatever happens at Roma, maybe he gets another loan next season. He is not going to be part of United's future, and that is clear. That loaning a player like Chris Smalling out means he's basically done. He's done at United. So he won't be coming back and getting involved. With Alexis Sanchez, I would say the same. The only thing about Sanchez is his wages are so massive. Who's going to keep taking him off our hands? So we need Sanchez to have a good season in Italy. From Smalling's point of view, we'll just have to wait and see. Does it leave us thin? A lot of people talking about that. Obviously, we've got Rochdale in the Carabao Cup. If anybody doesn't know that, we play Rochdale towards the end of September. A lot of people are saying, well, Angel Gomez has got to start in that game. Hello? Angel Gomez needs to start on Saturday against Southampton and Lingard needs to be dropped. Let Lingard play against bloody Rochdale. People saying, oh, that's the chance for Gomez and Chong and everyone like that. Screw that. Those lads need to be in now. I don't know what our Carabao Cup team is. Bloody Mata, Matic and Lingard, as far as I'm concerned. Get the young lads in. But are we thin? Well, look, we're thin in the midfield. We were thin in the midfield anyway because we didn't buy anybody. Are we thin up front? Yeah, we've lost Lukaku and Sanchez and a couple of injuries and we're in trouble because we are thin up front. Are we thin at the back with Smalling going? And that's what we're talking about here. Chris Smalling to Roma for a year on loan. Anyone who's joining late, smash a like if you're happy with that. No, Chris Smalling going is not... I don't agree with we're thin. The squad's thin now. I don't agree with that, to be honest with you, because we're well stacked at the back. Paul DeLuca says, Mark, thoughts on the Pogba out vandalism? Also shout out for my mate Matthew's birthday. Happy birthday to Matthew. I'm sure a lot of people in the live comments will say on that. The Pogba out vandalism, I'll talk about that in a moment. George Ramos, Mark, why are we so scared to get rid of Phil Jones? He's so bad I can't bear to watch him. Smalling, as you said, is the best backup centre-back in the world. And also, did you hear Zlatan comments? I would take him. I'll talk to you about Zlatan as well, George, and Pogba. Just remind me in a little bit of a moment. Look, Phil Jones, for some reason, they love Phil Jones at Manchester United Football Club. I don't know what he's doing in the dressing room. I don't know whether he's walking around polishing boots or making the best cup of tea you've ever had, or he's got the best jokes everybody's had. You know, I don't know, or he's got nudes on everybody. I don't know the situation with Phil Jones. Maybe in training, he's like bloody Baresi reincarnated. Look him up. Franco Baresi, brilliant defender. I don't know. It's a bit like Marcus Rashford on free kicks. Why is Marcus Rashford on free kicks? Let's not just pick on Phil Jones here. I love Marcus Rashford as well, but your free kicks maker are an embarrassment. Why are you doing it? Is it because of what's going on in training? I don't know. I don't know why Phil Jones is still at United, and he's got a ridiculous injury record. But to be honest with you, as long as he's not making the bench, as long as we don't get major injuries to Harry Maguire, Lindelof and Twansebi, Phil Jones don't play anyway. Let Phil Jones play against Rochdale. He loves playing in the Carabao Cup. It's the pink boots! It's the pink boots! So, look, Chris Smalling going, I see the positive. I like Smalling as a backup centre-back, as I said before. But with regards to Chris Smalling going, the positive I would take is Twansebi is third choice centre-back, which we've seen. He's the centre-back on the bench. So that is a positive, and that is looking forward, and we want to look forward. And the second thing is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer removing the deadwood from the football club, which is a positive as well. And just on that as well, let me just say this. With regards to what we're doing, Sanchez has gone, Fellaini has gone, Lukaku has gone, and Chris Smalling has gone. Now, as far as I'm concerned, Lukaku had to go because he wasn't good enough. Sanchez is over 30, Fellaini was over 30, and I don't know how old Chris Smalling is, but he can't be far off 30. Those players have been moved out. We know Greenwood now is the backup centre-back and he's in his teenage years. We know Twansebi is the backup centre-back and he's in his early 20s. We know that people like Pereira, McTominay, they are now considered first-teamers and they are in their early 20s. So we are building a younger Manchester United. And yeah, we're gonna have Crystal Palaces. There'll be more of those. There might be one on Saturday. But Ollie is being ruthless and he is bringing through players and giving them an opportunity, which is what us fans want. I think the only thing we're missing is what we all know. We wake up this morning and, over the last week, Sanchez has gone to Inter. Most of us are excited about that. We wake up this morning, another piece of deadwood is off to Italy in Smalling. We weren't expecting that. Hopefully Darmian's going to go. And maybe Rojo will go. And we have then removed, all right, some of its loan deals, but we've removed quite a few bits of deadwood. The sad thing is we weren't this proactive in bringing players in. And we know we're short in the midfield, but we can't do anything about that. Zayn Miasi says, if Sanchez gets back to his best at Inter, would you take him back? No. I think hopefully he will play well for Inter, but I don't see him. He's too slow, mate. He's too slow. The Italian league is slow, and it might well suit him. He is not going to suit Manchester United anymore. And whatever happened to Dimitri Mitchell, looked decent a couple of years ago and would much rather have him over Young at left back, says Stephen98. He went on loan to Hearts. I don't know where he is this time. And he's also... he went on loan to Hearts. I don't know where he is now. But let me talk to you about a couple of things that are topical as well. So Chris Smalling to Roma on loan for a year. What are your thoughts on that? Bit out of the blue. I like him as a backup centre-back, but again, Ollie moving out, looking forward. So I think, if you're happy with that, smash a like on the video. And also, let me just talk about a couple of things people mentioned. Paul Pogba out. The Pogba out graffiti yesterday. Purposely didn't do a video on it because I didn't want to draw attention to it. Look, if a United fan has graffitied Pogba out on the Carrington sign, they're an idiot. Like, you're an absolute idiot. And I think we'd all agree with that. Look, Pogba divides opinion, but you've got to look at what's best for Manchester United. And if Paul Pogba leaves Manchester United now, we're going to be finishing the bottom half of the table. That midfield is rubbish. And without Pogba, it is crap. So we can't want Pogba out. So if you are... Look, you might not like Pogba. You might have hoped we'd sold him in the summer and replaced him, but we can't replace him now. So Pogba is essential to us. Doesn't matter what you think, he's essential. So I can't see it being a United fan. If it is, they need help. If it's a racist, it's a disgrace, and that's my biggest concern. That it could just be sensationalist, racist people, or it could be somebody doing it for a laugh, like a Man City fan. But to be honest with you, I think the newspapers like The Sun love all that because it takes one idiot to post a bit of graffiti and then it's in the national news. One idiot. And that idiot could be racist, they could be banter, it could be a City fan. It could be lots of things, but of course it comes back on the club. But I speak to loads of United fans and nobody wants Pogba gone. Some people don't rate Pogba, some people wish we'd sold him in the summer, but where we are now, we can't afford to sell him. As for Zlatan, coming back to Manchester United, again, I don't want to be disrespectful here, so I won't call you an idiot. I just think you're massively naive if you think Zlatan can do a job at United, and I think Zlatan is having a laugh. Actually, Zlatan probably believes it, because he said he could still do a job in the Premier League. When did Zlatan leave United? I think it was 2 years ago. He tried to come back from his injury in November. And he was absolutely crap. And it was nothing to do with him not getting over his injury and not having fitness. He was miles off the pace. Just because he's consistently scoring goals in the MLS is the equivalent of League Two. So if Zlatan wants to come back to the English football, go and play for Rochdale. You're not playing for Manchester United. You're nowhere near good enough anymore. It's nice of him to talk the talk, but he ain't that level anymore, because he wasn't the level when he tried to come back for us 2 years ago. It's the same people who say Rooney could still do a job for United. You're totally and utterly not understanding the absolute gulf in ability between the Premier League and the MLS. Rooney's and Zlatan's and Thierry Henry's can go to the MLS when they're finished at the top level and still be amazing, because they are professional footballers. But they're not Premier League footballs anymore. I think I'm interested to see what Rooney's going to do if he comes back and plays for Derby, because I don't think he's going to find it very easy at all. But that's just my opinion. What do you think we should? Who do you think we should have taking free kicks? Says Pete Jowett. Very good point. I think that United need a set piece taker. I think, to be honest with you, they need to try and find a way to get Andreas Pereira into the team, because his set piece delivery is way better than anybody else's. But I'm not convinced. Don't insult League Two, says Robert Reed. We've got the preview for the Southampton game coming up at 8 o'clock tonight anyway, so we'll go through all that then. Zlatan can still play. Look, there's an army of Zlatan fans who just absolutely live up his arse, and I understand why. He's a legend of the game. But you're absolutely naive. You're absolutely naive. He won't come back to the Premier League anyway. If he thinks he's good enough for the Premier League, get a move back. Let's see who takes him back, and let's see who's proved right. And I will be proved right. He's not. I saw him 2 years ago at United. He was done. I saw Rooney in his last 2 years. He was done. It doesn't surprise me that they're absolutely dominating the MLS, because the MLS is crap. They are not Premier League players anymore, and it's just bravado. It's just headlines. It's just facts. So the recap is that Chris Smalling is going to go to Roma. And the recap from me is, 1, it shows Ollie's ruthless. 2, it shows that Twansibi is now third choice, which Smalling was always a decent third choice. So Twansibi is that now. 3, I like Smalling, but it shows that we're moving forward. 4, it should have been Phil Jones. It should be Phil Jones, I agree with that. But look, again, I'm not as excited about this one as I was about Sanchez going, because I think Sanchez going means more game time for Chong and Gomez and Greenwood. But we are well stacked in the centre-back position. It's the one area of the pitch where we're not weak. Like with Luke Shaw injured, Ashley Young has to play. If Wan-Bissaka gets injured, Ashley Young's got to play because Delow's injured. So, and in the midfield, we're really, really short. And up front, we're a bit short. But centre-backs, we're well stacked. We've got loads of centre-backs. You've got Maguire, Lindelof, Twansibi, Jones, Smalling, Rojo. That's 6. You don't need 6 centre-backs. So Smalling going makes a lot of sense. And I would still try and get rid of Rojo. Jones is obviously going nowhere, is he? He's like a cockroach. He'd survive a nuclear war. Heath Farley says, by removing Smalling, Lukaku, Sanchez, plus lack of midfield, Ollie has ensured spots for our 4 brightest talents. Well, you're probably right there if you think about it. Twansebi, Angel Gomez, Mason Greenwood, to Heath Chong. Mark, 30 is not old. Look at Giggs and Ronaldo, says Zayn Mayasi. I think what you're looking at there, Zayn, 30 isn't old, but you judge the player. 30 is old for Matic, who is declining. 30 is old for Mata, who is declining. 30 is old for Sanchez, who is declining. If you're like Ronaldo, approaching your mid-30s and you're not declining, then age is just a number. But some of these players, they're getting worse by the season, and their age is catching up with them. Practically no Mourinho signings has succeeded, says Extras E. I agree. And Jones is not going anywhere because nobody wants him, says Eric Angel. And that could be the most relevant point. Rojo can play left back, says Addy Jones. That might be a reason why we're keeping him. But realistically, Rojo has outstayed his welcome at the club by about 2 years. And then I can't believe that Darmian's still here, to be honest with you. Anyway, please do smash a like on the video, everybody. Smalling is off to Roma. He'll be flying out today. We've got our preview coming up at 8 o'clock tonight for you. We'll be live again for that. I didn't expect to be live this morning, but please do smash a like on the video. Make sure you're subscribing if you're new. All your latest breaking news for United on the United Stand, of course, and debate and chat. Thanks everyone who's joining me. It's 10 to 11 in the morning and we've got over 6,000 people watching. You're absolutely amazing. So yeah, and if you're not watching live because you missed it, get in the comments below. What do you think? As I said, I like Smalling. I can't be a hypocrite. I always liked him as a backup centre-back, but now Twansibi's took that spot. I do agree with Ollie. So ruthless, Deadwood. And yeah, but what I would say is it should be Jones, not Smalling. But if no one wants Jones, and you've got to clear a centre-back out, sometimes you have to get rid of something that people want because the rubbish people don't want. Thanks everyone for watching. Speak to you all soon.